Medfield TV.
Hello, Medfield. I hope you're all interested in knowing who this person to my left is. He is one of the Medfield People, but he's only a 9 to 5 Medfield People. His name is Brett Poirier, and he is the new head of the TV studio here at Medfield TV, and he has been taking over Dee Dee's place and doing a super job so far. Okay, I'll let you go. So far, so good. But it's nice to meet Brett. We're going to find out how he got here and what his background is, and I hope he's going to say he enjoys it here in Medfield. So Brett, tell us about you. Where'd you come from? Where were you born?
So I was raised actually in Rhode Island, North Providence, Rhode Island. I grew up there for the first part of my life, and then we moved after 5th grade. We went to North Attleboro, Massachusetts, and I've been there ever since. And so I'm commuting the long 30-minute drive, commuting to Medfield, and it's been great. So I graduated in high school in 2008, which probably dates myself, and then after that, got a job working at the local access station in North Attleboro.
Oh, okay, that's what started you then. So
I got that job essentially out of the whim. Like, I didn't go to school for communications. I didn't go to school to be on television or anything like that. Basically what I did was I looked at, I worked really hard, and at North Attleboro, North TV used to broadcast our wrestling matches.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so I wrestled in high school, and so wrestling is one of those rare things where there's not a lot of announcers for wrestling. Not a lot of people know the sport to get up and be able to talk about it, so I asked if I could do it, and so they let me do that. So I started my TV career just simply announcing wrestling matches.
And kind of by accident.
Yeah, and then slowly but surely, a little bit more. I worked hard. I would help them, wrap things up. And so they asked me, like, Brett, do you want to work here like 10 hours a week and just kind of like work in the back and clean up and learn? So I did that. And I just asked, I said, if there's ever an opportunity, I'd love to do this. Like, it's fun. So it turned out that one of the women got married. She left, and I took her place. I knew nothing about what I was doing, but I was willing to learn. I was willing to work hard, and that was about 3.5 years ago, and I've been working hard ever since. And then my travels to Medfield basically was, my girlfriend lives in Natick. I was traveling between the two. Between the two is Medfield. I actually stopped by. We have the nice window out front that with all of our TVs, and I was actually spying on the competition. I wanted to see what other people look like. What does another access station look like? So I stopped in, and a Dee Dee had happened to come out, and we had been talking, and we just stayed connected for like a year or so. And after that, she was leaving. She said, I would love for you to take over. So here I am.
Wow. She was a nice lady.
She was wonderful. I mean, she is wonderful. We don't have to talk past tense.
That's right.
She's awesome.
I've been to so many funerals this last couple of days.
I know. Yeah, no, she's a terrific person. She's in New Mexico now. They bought a house. I know that right now, this second, she's in India. I think she was over there for a wedding, and she's been traveling around and stuff. But it's been terrific. I try to stay in contact with her. I mean, she's a wonderful person, and she gave me a great opportunity. So the least I can do is say hi. So I usually try to stay in contact with her, and she says hi to everybody. So. And
I think she loved living here too. She seemed to fit right in. She joined the Lions Club, as you know.
Oh, she joined everything, as I know. One of my jobs when I came in was to join all the clubs and stuff that she joined. And now that we're starting to kick into all those meetings and stuff again, it feels like she just joined everything. I mean, she was so involved. She loved it. And people loved her for being involved. I mean, she didn't just join these groups. She became a massive part of them.
She was part of it, absolutely.
Yeah, and she was the president of a lot of them. So, I mean, she's very involved, and so I have big shoes to fill. So I'm working hard at that.
No, she is a good woman. You're right. I keep forgetting. I use the present tense. Dee Dee is still good. I've got to call her again. I haven't called her in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But if she's in India, I'll wait for another week or two, and then I'll give her a call. Did you ever dream you'd be doing a job like this when you were a kid?
I think that there was part of me that did. I mean, I always liked being on TV. I always liked, entertaining people and being the center of attention and stuff. I'm a bit of a ham.
Were you in shows and stuff in school?
It's
On
funny.
stage?
I didn't like in middle school. I was the weatherman in middle school. So my TV career started as a weatherman in middle school, and I think I did a sufficient job burning those tapes. But I was a goof in those tapes, and then after that, in high school, it really became just in wrestling. I think one of the things that I loved about it was you are the center of attention. As things are going on, like you are the one that everyone's watching. So I think that was kind of part of it, was one of my things I loved about wrestling. And then from there in college, just kind of grew into it. I joined the TV station in college and the radio station in college. But again, I never graduated with a degree. I just had kind of a loose experience around TV. And I always kind of liked it. And then it just fell into it where I got the job. And so it kind of destiny, it feels like, to be here. So many things had to fall into place.
It works that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where were you in college?
So I went my first 2 years of college. I was at Roger Williams University in Bristol.
Okay.
Yep. I wrestled there for a year, and then after that, I left wrestling and I started coaching back at the high school. So I would come back and forth and coach and go back to college. And then I transferred from Roger Williams to Rhode Island College.
Okay.
So I graduated at Rhode Island College with a history degree, which I haven't used. But
maybe you will. You can do show
yeah,
Medfield history.
I do love history. I think I learned a lot of skills from history. A lot of the skills that you learn from a history degree you can use everywhere, of how to research things, how to find the real story behind different facts and stuff. It's not about just reading the facts. It's also about like going deeper and like where
Absolutely.
do they find those? Where did that come from? And then one of the things I always loved about history is the argument of not just the actual statement of what you're trying to find the truth in, but also the converse to that. So like one of the big things about our history papers was you didn't just write your point of view, you also had to write the opposite point of view and be able to defend yourself. So that was always something
that's a good program. I like that.
Yeah, so that was one of our major points in our history degrees, was to be able to do that. And so you should be able to make your argument, but then also make the argument for the other side as well. So that was a skill that I think is tremendous.
A group of us were talking about the different presidents. We always talk about stuff like this. But what would suppose Donald Trump had been born poor, and suppose JFK had been born poor, where would their future have been? What would have happened to them? What would they have grown up to be?
Yeah, it's interesting.
It would be interesting to think about if they didn't have that family money and the freedom that they gave us, that they gave him.
Yeah, because obviously one of the big things with Donald Trump too was, despite his politics or whatever you want to say about him, one of the biggest reasons why he was elected in the Republican Party was because he said, I'm self-funded. I don't need to take money from anyone else. So that's kind of interesting. If you said you took away his money, what has he got? So that was
No, not what has he got, but what would he have done?
Yeah.
Because I think some of the presidents have grown up normal or poor.
Yeah.
But when they grow up with family money and they don't have to have that incentive to succeed personally, it's very different what directions they go in. One of my friends thought JFK would probably have been an actor.
Yeah, I could see that.
Good looking, had a lot of personality.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's just kind of fun. You wonder what would have happened.
Yeah.
Really wondered. What would Lincoln have been? And of all the presidents, I would most like to dig up Abraham Lincoln and talk to him.
Yeah.
Say, what do you really like, Abe?
Yeah, he definitely was an interesting character. So he also has like a really interesting past where he's self-taught.
Absolutely.
He built his own home. He did a lot of those things. He's also an undefeated wrestler in Pennsylvania. He was a character. He was something different. So.
But it wouldn't have been fun to be able to speak to those guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and Abraham Lincoln's the one I'd most like to talk to, I think.
I think so.
Of all of them. But there are a couple I'd really like to sit down and have a chat with them if they would get back alive again.
Yeah, exactly.
Be kind of fun. But just to see what they really were as people. You read about them. You can see them on old news, etc., for some of the relatively recent ones. But you hear Lincoln's voice, which always surprised me how high it was. when I've heard him on the History Channel. But what did Washington sound like?
Right, right. We'll never
Adams,
know.
no, we won't. It's too bad.
Yeah.
But at least the future generations are going to know this.
Right.
And they'll know about Brett, who ran Medfield TV.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's one of the things I always think is really interesting about running an access station like this and being a part of Access TV. One of the things that I love about it is the connection that it makes to people of a town. And we broadcast only Medfield. It's not like we broadcast anything else. We do Medfield, and that's it. And I think that that's what makes us unique. And what's great is we make people the stars. Like any resident in Medfield, like you're what we're broadcasting. So you become the star in our show. And it's really interesting because we do captivate, our audience with what you would consider normal citizens. And I think that those are the most beautiful stories. Those are the best ones, are the ones that a normal person tells. And I think they're just as entertaining as any celebrity. Any celebrity story, you watch like a Kim Kardashian show or whatever, and you're just like, what makes these people interesting? Why are we watching this? And it's just because they're on a bigger network or whatever. I think people are so interesting, and that's the biggest thing I love about this.
Because I've done, one of my interviews that people still talk about is Peter Butler, who's got to be about 6'3" or so. He had polio as a kid, and he had it in both legs. So Peter is this great big tall guy with arm crutches. And he worked full time, went through college. I don't know how he did it. A lot of mental stamina for sure. But he came on television, he talked about it and what it was like growing up. And he had appendicitis while he was a teenager, and they couldn't handle him he had to send him to a regular hospital instead of the polio hospital that he was in. And then when they sent him to a regular hospital, they isolated him because people didn't know how polio was transmitted back then. And he said he was in a room with glass window, and his parents could walk by and wave, but that was, only one attendant was allowed in there. So things have changed a lot.
And it's funny, I've seen your shows now probably a handful of times. We've seen probably 10 or 15 of your shows that you've done. And I always feel like you not only have your own life story to tell, but because you talk to so many people and you're so interested with so many people, you also have like other people's lives that you tell their stories. It's such an interesting thing for you is you have all these stories to tell.
But the stories are out there, and you just have to get somebody willing to come and talk to you.
Yeah.
I think I finally got one of my kids' favorite teachers to come. I've talked to her a couple times, and she said, well, I think I might give in. So I'm going to give her a call in a couple weeks.
You've been searching for that interview for a while now.
I really wanted, especially this, she's one of my kids' favorites. And I think if you asked around town, almost everybody that ever went to the Dale Street School would remember Mrs. Harrington. And, she raised chickens. They hatched chickens in the classroom.
That's awesome.
And rabbits. Oh, my God. My favorite story with her chickens is over the weekends, long weekends, somebody had to take care of the chickens, so the kids were allowed to draw lots and take the chickens home. So one of my kids was the lucky one to bring the chickens home. I think there were 3 of them that weekend. It was a long weekend, and one of the chickens died. And my son said, how am I going to go back to school with only 2 chickens when I had 3 when I left? And it was he was so worried about it. But she did a wonderful job with the kids. Yeah, she really did. She was a dynamite teacher.
Yeah. That's excellent.
Yeah, but there were good ones. And my friend who was a burn victim, and she talked about, she had been in a car. Her parents were going away on a trip, so the 2 little kids were put in the car with snowsuits on. And the parents went in the house to get the suitcases. They came out, and my friend Judy said the windows of the car were filled with black. It was just covered with smoke. They don't know what happened, whether one of the kids hit the cigarette lighter, but of course they went up pretty badly. And my friend Lisa was worse because she had a blanket around her that wasn't fire retardant. But Lisa came on TV and she talked about going on blind dates. She held up her hands and showed the stubs. She showed where her scars were and talked about the Shriners Burn Center with, oh my God, with such reverence. Yeah. And things like that are really important for people to hear. And she was one of my stars, I think. Yeah,
and I think one of the best parts about an access station, a small station like this, is it's the honest truth. It's entirely the truth. We don't edit our shows. We don't cut them down. We don't cut what people say. Here's 30 minutes of this person's story from start to finish. And I think that's the best. That's one of the things that make us different. So that's pretty great.
Yeah.
But we have, I've been getting to know Medfield now. You know, I've been kind of learning more and more about this town, and I think that it's exciting to learn a lot about a new town and meet all the people in it. And I have a unique ability to be able to kind of dive in and really learn this town and stuff. But some of the events coming up and everything are awesome, like Medfield Day. I've heard about Medfield Day, and we kind of, in North Attleboro, we have an event that's like Medfield Day, but I kind of said to my staff, I said, you know, like, how big is this Medfield Day thing? Because, you know, in North Attleboro, it's not that big, you know. And they were like, no, like, this is a big deal.
It really is a big deal.
It's exciting. I'm excited about it. Like, I'm excited. So
it's fun.
yeah, we're doing, Medfield TV is doing something different with our booth. I think people are going to want to come by and see what we do.
Okay, you going to come by my booth?
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to swing by at some point. Hopefully we'll be able to see all the booths.
That's what we've done before. I used to walk around, a couple of years I walked around with Aditi.
Yeah.
And we talked to the different people. But I run a booth right on North Street,
Oh,
right
great.
at the head of the pond.
Yeah.
And it's for the Cancer Society. It's hand-knit scarves.
So you have your scarf on you too, right? You have a
Yeah,
scarf with you?
you wouldn't believe how many scarves I have in my closet. But the scarves are free with your donation to the Cancer Society. And people can write their check out to the Cancer Society and get a tax write-off, so they win.
Yeah.
But it's a great program, and I have young girls that are helping me each year, and it's great fun. But everything in there, in Medfield Day is fun.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's like 150 booths or something like that, and that's incredible. Russ Hallisey runs the event, and
Yeah.
he does a fantastic job. But what a crazy day that's going to be. I'm really excited about it.
It's grown so much over the years.
Yeah, and then we have like the summer concert series. Like, I don't think, one of the things I realize is like not every town realizes what they have, like what's special about their town, and like that summer concert series is
Isn't it
another
wonderful?
thing. That's a wonderful thing that we offer. It's really
is.
cool. You know, so
That's offered by Memo, and I happen to be a member of it. But
Yeah.
but I think Memo's done a great job with all
Yeah.
those things.
yeah, and so, you know, those events, it's exciting for me to learn about them and become a part of them. And one of my big things is I want Medfield TV to become a bigger part of the community as well. We're looking to produce a lot of different events, and we want to do things that get the community involved as well. So we're really excited to become a bigger part of Medfield.
And if people out there have ideas they'd like to tell you about, how would they get to you, Brett?
Yeah, so there's a few ways to get to me. So you can either email us at info@medfield.tv. I'm assuming most people know how to spell that one. But the other one is, if you want to get to me directly, is Brett, B-R-E-T-T, @medfield.tv. So either one of those options is the best way to get to me. And any ideas, anything like that, we're always looking for it. We always want to be able to cover things that people want covered. So anything like that, just email me and let me know, and I'd love to get in contact with people, get you on a show maybe, or if you just have an idea, something you want us to cover, that's what we're looking for. So info@medfield.tv and Brett@medfield.tv. Both of those work.
There's also a phone number, still
Yeah, there's still-
359-8888.
Yep, it's the easiest phone number in the book. It's 359-8888. So if you just trip and hit 8 a few times, you'll probably reach us.
As long as you don't hit too many.
Exactly.
No, I think that's good. I hope people respond to that.
Yeah,
I hope they do.
I think so. I think a lot of people don't know, you know, when I talk to people, a lot of them don't know where to go or who to talk to with an idea. And I think it's great is when someone says, man, I've always had this idea and I didn't know what to do with it. And we become a really great location for people with ideas that want to do something. And maybe we can't do the giant production that people have in their head, but I never like to say no. And so if someone has an idea, I want to be able to find a way that we can do it, or that it's, you know, up to what your standard is of what you're trying to get done, or whatever it is. You know, we try not to say no. So that's something we're always doing.
Well, let's hope people out there will listen to you
Yeah, I hope so. I
and
think,
give you a call or give you an email.
yeah, I think people will. So that's good.
Okay, well, thanks for coming, Brett.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
You people out there, thanks for watching Medfield TV, and we hope you'll be in contact with Brett at Medfield TV. That's very easy. And I hope you'll keep tuning in every day, check and see what's going on. Thanks for watching Medfield TV.
The preceding was a production of Medfield TV.